Hi friends and happy Money Monday. If you are new to my channel, Money Monday is where I answer your personal finance questions to the best of my little ability. And if I don't know the answer, I look it up and see what Dave says. So let's jump in. Mary Blajian says, "Hey budget girl, we have two major debts and I know that Dave Ramsey says to pay off other debts before the mortgage, but the other loan, which is for solar panels, is actually a little more money than what we owe on our mortgage. The solar panel loan has a smaller interest rate than our mortgage. We can pay off one of the loans in around 7 to 8 months. Which do you recommend?" Now, Dave does say pay off all your debt before your mortgage, but it sounds like they're basically for the same amount. So say you owe $10,000 on each. One has a slightly higher interest rate than the other. Either way, it's kind of going to be a wash. Suze Orman, on the other hand, recommends paying down your debt by interest rate first. Dave says smallest debt and then the larger debt, and I don't know which one that would be. You said solar panel you owe more money on than the mortgage. Either way, it sounds like you're going to be out of debt in 7 to 8 months, but do dedicate the pay your minimum on both and then pick one, pay everything you can to it. It sounds like you are doing so great and that either way you're going to be out of debt in about a year and a half or so. I would go ahead and pay down the solar panels and then you are debt free except for everything but your house, and then in another 7 months you'll be house payment debt free and everything. So it's really kind of a toss up here. I would do it in the way that Dave recommends, because Dave has recommended this program to millions of people and it works. But in your specific situation, either way you're going to be out of debt in about the same amount of time. It's not the end of the world if you decide to pay off the solar panels first, because they're slightly lower interest rate. Either way, you're doing pretty good, and it doesn't sound like you are losing any momentum on the snowball, which is one of the reasons that Dave says pay off your debt smallest to largest, because then you get the momentum going. So, all right, good luck with that. Jen Velasquez says, "Hi, I love your videos. So I set up my budget in Excel like yours. I feel I'm constantly failing month after month. I'm married and have 2 teenage daughters. I have them on a budget with their allowance, but I feel like things are definitely always coming up that I haven't planned for. I'm the one that manages the money, and I definitely feel like they are not all in my boat, even though I have tried to explain the budget and the numbers in depth. We are always going over on food as well. I do the food shopping and meal planning, but always need to go back for other things that I forgot, which leads to impulse purchases. My sinking funds are non-existent because even though I want to be adding to them and on paper have money to add to them, there isn't any money left over. Ugh, help me, budget girl. I feel like it's easier to stick to a budget as a single person than trying to get 3 other people in the household to follow the rules." I couldn't tell you that one way or the other. Because yes, with a single person, one income, the only person that I have to keep under control is me. On the other hand, there's no one else to help keep me under control. However, I feel your pain. I'm sorry you're going through this, but I think I may have the answer for you. It sounds like your budget isn't realistic. If you are always going over on food and there's always stuff coming up every single month, it sounds like you have unrealistic numbers put down. Now, this can be very frustrating because you do all this work on the budget and everything's laid out and everything is getting paid on paper, but if in reality those numbers just aren't going to work, then you have to adjust the paper. You have to adjust what you're going to do. So with the grocery budget, I would absolutely go ahead and increase that. You say that you meal plan and food shop but always forget stuff. I get that. I do. And that's why I only go grocery shopping once a week. If I forget something, I make do without it, which is very hard. Especially if, I plan this recipe and I've forgotten something kind of important. I just get creative and I try to work around it or do a different meal plan, adjust the recipes or cook something entirely different and then do that other recipe next week when I get the budget. It's hard to do, and it feels like, why can't I get this right? But that's what you have to do if you're not going to make more impulse purchases at the store. Also, please remember to keep a list of everything when you're meal planning. Write down absolutely everything that you're going to need. Before I really got it mastered, I was doing that all the time, and then I learned to write absolutely everything I needed for a recipe down, not relying on my mind to remember, oh yeah, do I have cornstarch? Do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have the other thing? I go and check. I write absolutely everything down on my shopping list, and then I go through my kitchen and I check for each item. And if I have it, I mark it off. If I don't, I pick it up at the store. I also keep a list on my fridge anytime I run out of something to re-pick it up, any of the staples, which helps a lot. That could help a little bit with the meal planning budget. With the teenagers that are always coming, and other things that are always coming up that you haven't planned for, with the teenagers, maybe get them to pay for the things that come up that you didn't see coming. If it's a field trip or a dance that they didn't tell you about until last minute, maybe they'd tell you earlier if they didn't get to go one time, which sounds harsh. And as a person who is not a mother, I am not speaking from experience here, other than when I was a kid and I would forget to tell my parents something, I didn't get to go unless I did it within a reasonable amount of time, which made me more responsible. With the husband, there are an absolute ton of YouTube channels out there that have great tutorials on how to kind of get your husband on board. His and Her Money has one. The former Mrs. Jones has one. Gazelle Intense has done some videos on how to work with your spouse about finances. I refuse to talk about that because I have no ring, no experience, no opinion. I can't, like I said, I can't control anyone else but me, and because I'm not married, I don't have to, so I can't give advice on that. What I can tell you to do is that it sounds like you are trying to make your life fit your budget too much. You need to adjust your budget to fit your life. So maybe you need to increase the categories for increase in miscellaneous category for a while until you see these things coming on a regular basis. If things like Christmas and birthdays come every single year, you can plan for that. But other things that come up regularly, I've just found over time, I've learned to anticipate them better. So definitely change your budget around. Keep working it. I know it's super frustrating, but I have faith in you that you can do it. Just keep trying and give yourself some grace. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes months and months and months to get a budget that works. And even then, there are going to be things that come up that throw it out of hooey for a little bit. So, but good luck, Jen. All right, Leah Hinchell says, hey, budget girl, my husband's work has sold their business and my husband will most likely be out of work with the new employer. We have our baby emergency fund saved, thank goodness. My question is, what would be better to do for the next few weeks? Stock up on food and pay extra to rent, or pay onto the credit card debt where, although it will eventually make a difference, it won't make a short-term one. We will get government assistance, but it could take weeks to come through, if not months, as the local office is slack at processing forms. I just want to get through this without going into any further debt. Your thoughts? This is absolutely the best way to think about it of, an emergency has happened, a job loss is an emergency. Deal with the situation that's in front of you. So now is the time to tap the brakes on credit card debt payoff. Keep paying your minimums. Absolutely keep paying your minimums. Don't fall behind. But the way that you're going to deal with the things that inevitably come up, like the forms don't come through and you don't get the assistance quick enough, or a tire suddenly blows, something like that, that could happen outside of your regular emergency fund, is by using this time before he actually gets laid off to stockpile. Now, don't necessarily go ahead and start paying to rent and stockpiling on groceries unless you think that that money is just going to disappear out of your hands. But you sound like you're a planner based on this question. So I would just start throwing any current money that you have. I'd stop all of your sinking funds. I would stop any personal savings, any restaurant eating out, and pile all of that money into your emergency fund for dealing with this situation until it's resolved, until he gets a new job. You can absolutely get through this. But yeah, tap the brakes, cut down to your minimums, go into emergency budgeting mode. So go through your budget and cut out anything that is non-essential. Keep paying your minimums on any of your debts. Keep your 4 walls intact, housing, food, clothing, all of that. But cut out any extra and just sit on a pile of money and use that as you need to. And this is the way that you're going to not have to go into more debt until he finds a new job. And getting into kind of that emergency mindset will also help motivate you and him to get a new job. Not that you need it, but that definitely helps. So I will, I believe I've done a video on this before, emergency budgeting. And if I haven't, because I've been doing this a while and I've forgotten, I will link a fellow YouTuber's how to deal with emergency budgeting down below. You can absolutely do this, but yeah, don't keep paying to credit card debts right now. Pause. You have a situation on your hands and deal with that situation right in front of you. Good luck. You'll get through this. Okay. Life Paths says, how do you wash your fruit, and do you let it completely dry before cutting it and putting it into mason jars? Do you use plain water for washing the fruit or something recommended to wash your fruit with? Usually the homemade ones I've seen involve vinegar. And then Freedom in a Budget also asked about like strawberry freshness. I get this all the time because I prep my fruit for the week. I go ahead and wash it and I cut it up and I put it in mason jars if you watch my food hauls. In my meal plans, and I have that in the fridge for the week. And people are always asking, does it go bad throughout the week, like just a container of strawberries in your fridge would, or how do you meal prep those? And it's the simplest, stupidest thing. I run the container of strawberries under the water, or I put it in a strainer and I just run water over it for a while and then hull them with a little paring knife and then slice them up and chuck them in a mason jar, close it, and put it in my fridge. I don't let them dry. I don't wash them in anything special or put anything special in the mason jars. I just put them in the mason jars and seal it and put it in my fridge, and it lasts at least a week. No mold, ever. I've never ever had an issue with mold or the strawberries or any fruit going bad in a week. I just wash it, cut it, put it in. Easy as pie. I hope that helps. All right, and then Belle Femme says, I wonder why Dave Ramsey says to close everything and don't use credit cards. How will you be able to buy a car, a house, or even an apartment? Well, Belle, you use money. You use money that you have earned. Dave Ramsey says not to use credit cards because we use those as a crutch in our society. And this is only a fairly recent occurrence. Our grandparents used cash. They saved up money to buy things. And if they wanted something that they didn't have the money for, they didn't buy it. Now, as far as a car, you can pay for a car with cash. And you should pay for a car with cash because leases just steal your money, and so does interest. You go to a car lot and you pay $20,000 for a new car. You sign a contract on it to pay over time. You're going to end up paying $27,000 or so for that car in the end. I go to a car lot with cash, and I'm going to come out of there with an amazing deal and be free and clear. No one can take that car away from me. Now, if you're worried about not being able to save up enough money for a car, I am going to link a wonderful article or video from Dave Ramsey from Dave Ramsey on how to do this so you will always have paid for cars. Now, you start off with a little bit of a junker. You save a car payment for yourself, and then you buy a car that you can afford. You keep saving the car payment that you would be paying to the dealership, and then you trade it, or you sell that car and buy a better one. And then you will always have cars that you own. You never have to worry about it being taken away from you. It's 1,000 times better. As far as a house or an apartment, there's such a thing as manual underwriting. And this is what they did before the FICO credit score, which is an I love debt score, as Dave says all the time. All that is a gauge of how much you've borrowed in the past. It's saying, hey, I borrowed debt here and I paid it off, and I borrowed debt here and I borrowed debt here and I borrowed debt here. And if you pay things with cash, you don't need a credit score and you don't have it. And they can manually underwrite you and know that the company will know that you can pay off your mortgage. It's an absolutely wonderful thing. And I can link another article about that below, how their companies do this, and it's a wonderful option on how to live your life, and you can totally do it without credit. I haven't touched a credit card in years and I don't miss it for a second. I never have to worry about due dates or late fees or interest. I just pay for things when I want them with money that I've earned and saved, and then it's mine. And that's it. That's the end of the transaction there. So yeah, it's an absolutely wonderful thing that you can do. All right, Melissa Alder asks, I am such a loser with money. Lol, I have $10,000 of credit card debt that I stupidly consolidated and am kicking myself now for. I feel overwhelmed, and now I have 5 years to pay it off. My plan is to send an extra payment when I can towards the loan. I'm also paying for a house and a truck. Any advice from me? I've learned a lot from your videos and plan on applying it. I'm getting ready to sit down and write out a budget. Our emergency fund had $1,000 in it, but our water heater bit the dust, so we just had to get into it. Now we have to build it back up. It feels like a sinking hole that just gets deeper. Oh, Melissa, yeah, you've got a little situation here, but it's okay. The budget is going to help you with a ton of this. So step 1, yes, build back your emergency savings fund. And step 2, quit trying to juggle 3 things at once. Whenever you have a plan that involves, I'll pay extra when I can, that basically means I'm never going to be able to pay extra, unfortunately, because it means, and I mean no disrespect here, it means you don't have a plan with your money. You're waiting on a windfall or money to just fall out of the sky, and it doesn't usually do that. So yes, absolutely sit down, do a budget, and then focus on these debts in order. So you've got your truck, your house, and your credit card debt. And I don't know if that, oh, you said you consolidated it and you have 5 years to pay it off. So 1, ignore the house. Not flipping y'all off. Ignore the house for now. Pay your mortgage. I would never not say that. But the Dave Ramsey plan says to pay off your debts, disregarding your mortgage in baby step 2 from smallest to largest. So if your car is your smallest debt, or if your credit card loans are your smallest debt, then pay that first. What you do is you pay your minimums on everything, and then any extra money that you've budgeted, that you budget your house, all your needs, and then anything else that you have left, you throw at that. Any extra money that you can earn by selling something or getting an extra job, you throw towards that. And this is the snowball method. So also, if you owe a lot on your truck, maybe consider selling that. Get rid of it, buy a cheaper car, and with cash, sell your truck, buy a cheaper car, drive that, get out of the credit card debt, and then upgrade when you can. If you only have 5 years to pay off your credit card debt, then you're going to have to plan that out. Obviously, they're charging you each month a minimum, and you've got your truck payment and your mortgage, so figure all of that out to which your smallest debt is, pay the minimums, and then throw anything extra at that smallest debt. Once you've eliminated that smallest debt, throw all of that money, since you don't have to pay the smallest debt anymore, to your next smallest debt. Now, the mortgage, Dave says, is not until a later baby step. So go ahead and get your truck and your credit card debt out of the way first, and you may be able to sell that truck and kind of push you off on that. And then after that's done, you save your 3 to 6 month emergency fund, and then you pay off your house. So I hope that'll help. At the very least, it breaks everything down into a step-by-step system, which helped me a lot when I was starting because I felt like I had all this stuff and it was overwhelming. But when I basically learned through Dave that you can take this one thing at a time, that kind of helped settle me. So I hope this will help settle you, and you can do this. You can do this. All right. I have a congratulations today. Raves Rants Reviews says, my money win for the month of April was that I didn't use my credit card for the entire month. Yay! I've never done that since I got my credit card at age 22, and now I'm 26. Wow, so you, as soon as you got it, you started using that like it was money that you had, not money that you had to borrow. That's, which is what I thought about a credit card when I was in college. It was like, I have $40 in my bank account, and I have $500 worth of credit on this card. I can buy this. No. Dumb me. I wanted to save $300 for a house down payment in the month of April, and I ended up saving $800 for it. That is fantastic. That sounds like you're definitely getting your financial life in order. Go ahead and cut up that credit card. If you can save an extra $500 over what you thought you could, you don't need a credit card. You can cash flow whatever you need to buy. Race Rants Reviews, congratulations. It sounds like you are definitely making money steps in the right direction. And I hope you'll be able to buy that house soon. Good job with that. All right, so ask your money questions down below and tell me your money wins because I like to celebrate with you on that. And I will see you soon. Bye.